Good morning. Hallelujah. Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Jesus said, I will not leave you orphaned. I am coming to you. I will send the advocate, the Spirit of truth. You know him because he abides with you and he will be in you. It is a beautiful morning. Welcome to Holy Trinity Episcopal Church in Juneau, Alaska, on this sixth Sunday in Easter. My name is Gordon Blue. Thank you for joining with us in our worship today. Here at Holy Trinity, we walk in the way of love, a way that is given expression by proclaiming the gospel, the good news, and that takes its shape through ministry in the community. If you're not familiar with those ministries, please have a look at our annual report available at trinityjuneau.org. Maybe you will discover a ministry, one waiting there for you. Authentic service to others is a life-giving spiritual practice for the servant and for the one served also. Of course, we have been struggling, just like everyone else, to find ways to reshape ministry activities during the pandemic so we can provide for their purposes and keep everyone safe and healthy in the process. It turns out to be hard work, and we get tired. The grim events sweeping through the world can overwhelm, and we may feel pulled toward despair by the bagpipe drone of the news. What in the world can we do about this? This is a spiritual problem to solve. It's easy to become filled up with gas like a balloon and then twisted into strange shapes by all the crazy being pumped in the air. Last week, I was having a conversation with a friend, and I made a critical comment about the effect that I fear of the policies set by a national political figure. I did that, and all of a sudden my friend exploded, and he let loose a string of derogatory statements that it sounded like a whole big bunch of real bad actors were getting together with the sole purpose of ruining the world and starving its people. And it didn't seem to make him feel any better to say so. Those words, they seemed like maybe they were pointed at me. And I thought, isn't that interesting? So I said, well, I'm sorry I touched a nerve there. I apologize. What I said is what I think about a very specific policy. Now, I want to point out that not one word I said was aimed at you, and there wasn't even a mean word about so-and-so, and that was a pretty hard thing for me to avoid. So if you think those things you said are about me, I want you to know that I have a lot of character defects. And in this case, you're not even close. So I would appreciate it if we could keep this civil while we try to have a real conversation. Fortunately, my friend was interested in being civil, and we were able to bring things down a notch. We never did come to an agreement about world problems, but we did come out of the conversation with a little understanding of each other. We preserved respect for each other. And that seems to be a rare thing when people disagree nowadays. What in the world can we do about this? This is a spiritual problem to solve. I think a big part of the spiritual solution is remembering to respect one another and to be kind. This is something that really only works close to hand. This is the type of respect that shows up in the way we treat each other. It's a spirituality that grows out of becoming at peace with ourselves. It comes from making peace with God in the midst of our life. There's a line I like from the book Drop the Rock, Removing Character Defects. Because I cannot abuse myself into spirituality by shaming and ridiculing myself. I cannot open a flower with a sledgehammer. Only God opens flowers. We seem to be living with the belief that we can open flowers with a sledgehammer. What in the world can we do about this? This is a spiritual problem to solve. I think that a big part of the spiritual solution is staying right-sized. We get so wrapped up in thinking about big, important things, we forget to take care of the little stuff. It's interesting to consider some words from the Acts of the Disciples, which we read, as actually having bearing on this. Luke said, Creator allotted the times of our existence and the boundaries of the places where we live so that we would search for God and perhaps grope for him and find him. Though indeed he is not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and have our being. In him we live and move and have our being. That's pretty big and important sounding stuff, but notice what that grew out of. It grew out of our neighborhood. He says, this is how we are. We live at this time and we live in this place. He says, even if it seems to be so dark in the woods that we have to grope for God to find him, he is right there with us. Right now, maybe we need to remember that, to trust that as we grope our way through this part of life, God is there with us. God's in the small step. You know the saying, think globally and act locally. I think that right now I should be saying, think locally and act locally. After all, what in the world can we do about this situation? We can take care of our neighborhood. We can show respect for each other. And as best we can see if the neighbors need some help. Does that seem simplistic? It's not. It's not. It's spiritually right-sized. It's how Creator made us, said Luke, to live in the times of our existence and within the boundaries of the places we live. It's what Jesus wants us to do, to stay focused on the path beneath our feet and to live the life that we have been given. To know that we are in the right place, and though the times are strange and hard, Jesus said, I will not leave you orphaned. I am coming to you. In a little while, the world will no longer see me, but you will see me. Because I live, you also will live. On that day, you will know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. If you love me, keep my commandments, and you will be loved by my Father, and I will love you and reveal myself to you. This week, on the Wednesday before the Ascension, we have a custom that is uniquely focused on living in this place and at this time. It is the day of rogation. from Latin, rogatio, which means asking. The custom comes to us from England, where it is associated with blessing of the fields at planting. So on Rogation Day, we go out in the neighborhood where we ask for a blessing of the place in which we live and move and have our being. If ever this place needed a blessing, this is it. Bring your masks. Keep safe distance of 6 feet. Some people can come inside the church. We'll direct you so you can stay separated, and we'll have a one-way path through our 10-minute noonday service and on out to the streets of Juneau. We will bless them. We will ask God to bless them. Please come out with us on Wednesday at noon. And today, I hope that you will take up your part in morning prayer online, that you will pray and bless us with your presence in your prayers, and be blessed and sing along with the quarantine choir in the words of Jesus in the old words of blessing. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth.